Stiliyan Petrov is with us this morning. Hi, Stan. How are you?
Morning, Stan.
We've got my game. Super John
again. Yes, Stan.
Let me apologise immediately if there's any smugness or glee from my co-host today. But you are used to Alex Crook by now. But Gabby Agbonlahor is also very happy. Put your cigar down. Great performance. Yeah. Well done. Congratulations.
Very much, thank you.
Do you reckon you could manage to be just a little bit humble because, you haven't won anything?
Yeah, we haven't won anything yet, but, Nottingham Forest fans, last Friday, the messages you were reading out, Sam, the callers, the direct messages on every possible social media platform I was getting, celebrating the fireworks. They had a concert after the game, only to get thumped on probably the most one-sided semi-final second leg you will ever see. Thumped. Couldn't get out of their own half. Light work for Aston Villa. Who's next?
I heard you having a go at the Arsenal fans this week, and Arsenal for having fireworks after they'd got through to the final in Budapest. I noticed, and I had pointed it out to you at least 3 times this week, that Villa have fireworks before every game, and they had fireworks before the semi-final last
fireworks, night. Mate. They're like sparklers that you have on your champagne when you're in a nightclub.
Might be on your champagne.
Yeah, they weren't fireworks. They're like little ones. What did the manager do after the game?
I don't know.
Emery?
It was definitely.
He clapped the fans for about 3 seconds and walked down the tunnel.
Okay, well, it was
Mikel
a champagne performance, wasn't it?
Was doing the Haymack Arena around the stadium. They're doing a tour of the stadium.
He's quite used to getting to Europa League finals, so that's probably why.
Okay.
Is there not a small part of you that is worried that your legendary status is going to be diminished even further? Because surely you have to win something to be a legend at a football club.
I totally agree. I say that all the time, Crookie. I am not a Villa legend. The legends are the team that won the 1982 Champions League. I agree. And these players, I think they deserve it. This era needs to be an era where Villa win trophies. And I'm a fan. I'm not an ex-player. I'm not a legend. I'm a Villa fan.
Okay, you're a lifelong Villa fan.
I am, mate.
Yeah. So no other team when you were a kid.
I'm not like you. Have 4 teams. Aston Villa fan.
I heard a vicious rumour out in the green room that maybe you might have supported Arsenal when you were younger.
No, I supported Thierry Henry. Arsenal were my.
Did you have an Arsenal shirt?
Hold on. Did you have an Arsenal? Had to go at him for having 4 teams, and you were just about to say Arsenal were my second team.
I was a Villa fan, but the era that I was brought up with was an outstanding striker.
So you're a glory hunter.
Thierry Henry was everyone's.
You were brought up in was just after they'd won their last trophy, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you're talking like my era that I remember. You're talking like, the Dwight Yorks, very good strikers, but Thierry Henry, different level. So I loved Thierry, I loved everything about him, but Villa, my team, and, big clubs with heritage, they get to finals.
Well, there's certainly a bit of heritage about Aston Villa, that is for sure. And one man who definitely has supported them since as long as he can remember is Prince William, who gave the performance a royal seal of approval last night. He was there. He was having a great time, enjoying himself.
Love the royal family.
But let's roll back to Sunday. 7 changes. McGinn rested. Booze at half-time.
Yes.
Villa fans were booing. Let's be clear.
Deservedly.
It was a poor performance.
Deservedly.
But did Unai Emery actually get his approach spot on? Or were the players always having their focus just on this?
Do you know what, Sam? I get it for the players that, the regulars in the team that maybe took their foot off the gas, big semi-final coming up. But the fringe players, look at the fringe players for Nottingham Forest, how they performed against Chelsea. I'm looking at, Leon Baileys, the Sanchos, the Abrahams. They've got to do more when they get a chance. There's a reason why they didn't start last night. And also, every game, the manager would want to win. He didn't set out Aston Villa to go and lose that game. He would have loved for top 5 to be wrapped up on Sunday with a win. Players didn't turn up. There's a bit of walking football from some of the Villa players. But as an Aston Villa fan, all forgiven after last night's performance. That's one of the best performances I've seen a Villa team have in recent years. Outstanding.
But when the lineups came out, there was quite a bit of a backlash about the selection of Victor Lindelof.
I liked it. I liked it when I saw the lineup. It makes sense. Bogar's
He's played a lot of their European games, hasn't he? And to be fair,
I read a headline on one of the Aston Villa sites which basically said, and I looked it to see this morning to check what time it was, 1856, and it said Emery gets it wrong by going too defensive.
No, I knew exactly what he was doing before we done the watch along last night. I think every media outlet had it at 3 centre halves and
Yeah,
5
he
at
was
the back.
playing in midfield.
I was like, no, he's obviously playing centre midfield. He's done it many times during his career. Bogard isn't good enough for Aston Villa to start games. Recent weeks he hasn't. Douglas Luiz is not the Douglas Luiz that left Aston Villa. And he was fantastic. He was getting in front of Chris Wood. He was winning headers. He was letting Matty Cash get forward and dropping into that defensive role. And he allowed Tielemans to do what Tielemans does. Master class from Unai Emery.
I know you put in a few requests today, and this is going to be a very Gabby-centric segment. But you asked the producer to find this from last week.
1 second. Where's my
You're
headphone?
quite confident at home, under the lights, Villa can turn this around. I'm just looking at Forest's defensive record. They've only conceded 1 goal, I think, in their last 5 games. They've not conceded 2 goals in a game since the first week in March when they drew 2-2 at Manchester City. So those stats tell you that if Forest score at Villa Park, you're in trouble. They didn't score, did they? That's the whole point.
The mic's yours, Mr. Crook.
Well, they didn't score.
Have you got an apology to Villa fans who were upset by your comments last week?
Well, they're very thin-skinned if they're upset by me suggesting that Forest would make a fight of it.
You looked at what they've done in recent games.
He was just pointing out statistics.
Yeah.
Of course. But the first time that he does his prep and finds some stats, he gets it wrong.
He probably leant over and looked at you.
But this time,
he didn't look at Villa beating Forest 3-1 in the league, scoring 3 goals.
We did mention.
This time last week, you played out a clip of me saying that Villa were favourites to try and use as a stick to beat me with. So which one is it?
No, but Crookie, you've got West Ham fans, you've got Arsenal fans, Forest fans. No one backed Villa. Unai Emery has won. Sam Matterface did. Unai Emery has won 4 Europa Leagues for a reason. Aston Villa paid compensation. Aston Villa paid compensation for this manager for a reason.
Yeah. Can they keep him though?
I think we can do. Yeah. If not, if not, it happens. Real Madrid, big club.
More whispers about his future last night.
But do you want to go to Real Madrid? You got players having boxing fights. You've got Mbappe, the fans are not having. I'm sure he's happy with Aston Villa. And what I like about big managers, game finishes, knows he's not done yet, to semi-final, clap the fans, off you go. He was probably watching the Freiburg game in his meeting room last night, knowing Unai Emery.
He's kept his feet on the ground a lot more than you have this morning.
Well, let's talk about Unai Emery, because there is a lot of discussion about the possibility of him moving in the future, but there has been a few doubters about him in big games as well.
Yes.
Let's go back. Conference League semi-final against Olympiacos didn't work. FA Cup semi-final last year against Crystal Palace. The Champions League final day at the end of the season, where
Rightly so.
they had a real massive issue. Champions League quarter-final against Paris Saint-Germain. Actually, I think they did all right in that game. That's probably a different kettle of fish. But last night they had to turn up. And they have to turn up again. This is a guy who's managed 46% of all Europa League finals since 2014. He doesn't lose very often. The last one he lost was to Chelsea in Baku.
Boy, did he lose that.
Yeah, 4-1 the score.
But Sam,
Garden of Eden, I think.
Yeah, you're spot on with those stats there. But when I look at this manager, he had a plan. Villa fans were probably a bit more nervous for this game than he was. He probably looked at it and says, 1-0 away from home, always wanted to have the second leg at Villa Park. No pressure, no problem. Was Gibbs White a massive miss? Of course. Was Murillo, was Sangare a massive miss? Of course. But Aston Villa's performance, John McGinn, that's one of the best performances I've seen in a Villa shirt for decades. He was everywhere. He was winning the ball back. He scored 2 goals. Exactly. Scored 2 goals. He was everywhere. Could have had a third. Pau Torres. He bullied Chris Wood. He bullied Igor Jesus. Ollie Watkins, that sort of performance that gets you on the plane. He bullied the whole back 4 of Nottingham Forest. Even the cut to his head. I know some soft players would have been off the pitch. He's like, bandage it up, I'm carrying on. We are getting to this final.
We're going to talk about Nottingham Forest as well in the next few moments and what went wrong for them. But for Unai Emery, would it actually be the crowning glory of his tenure if he won the Europa League? Or would it be actually a signal to everybody else to come and get him and take him elsewhere? Because Real Madrid aren't the only ones who are fluttering, admiring glances at him.
No, there's been a few suggestions that if Manchester United don't continue with Michael Carrick, then Unai Emery is somebody that potentially they would like to talk to. And it'd be a big decision to make, wouldn't it? Because we've spoken about this a lot. He's in that rare situation in modern football where he is very much the master of all he surveys. He obviously had a sporting director, basically decided he wanted a different sporting director. He's got the final say when it comes to transfers. Villa Park is very much his kingdom. That isn't going to happen at Real Madrid. it isn't going to happen at Manchester United. But if he does win the Europa League, realistically, Gabby, and I'm not saying this to wind you up, is there a genuine question with the financial limitations imposed on Villa that he's taking the club as far as he can?
I think it all depends on if the financial limitations, if they change. Listen, it's frustrating. Aston Villa would have loved to have brought Semenyo, brought Gahey in January, strengthened like other clubs can, but they can't. And maybe it will be the same this summer. But if he wins the Europa League with Aston Villa, Champions League football next season, I don't see him leaving. He wants to go and win trophy after trophy with Aston Villa. And like you says, look at the chaos at Real Madrid. I know it's Real Madrid, but you've got players fighting. Valverde's missing the Clasico next week. Shumeni obviously is going to get sold. You can't assault a player.
Manchester United a little bit calmer now than it has been for a couple of years.
Of course, arguably. But
thanks to Carrick.
But Michael Carrick won't appreciate you giving the job to Unai Emery.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying if they didn't give it to Michael Carrick, we have had this conversation. Yeah. Both Sam and I feel like Michael Carrick has earned the right.
Definitely, I totally agree.
Talking of people who have earned the right, and you didn't mention him during that sort of role of honour that you came out with from last night. But Emi Buendia was loaned out to Leverkusen. Yep. Most people thought that he would not be at Aston Villa by now. His performance last night was nothing short of terrific. Right from the very off, that first corner where he's turning around to everyone and giving it a large. And his dance for the opening goal is exquisite, isn't it? It's right up there with anything that you've seen in the Europa League this season.
100%. And I look at an example of Kvaratskhelia assist on Wednesday. You know, when top players get into that position, Sam, they don't panic. Buendia, he could have literally shot. He could have just whipped it across the box. No, he took his time, composed himself. He knows where Watkins likes to run. Watkins scored a similar goal in the second leg against Bologna. Similar tapping.
You did slate him last week. John from Salford's just texted us in. He says you slated Buendia as soft last week. You called Amadou Onana made of straw last week.
Agreed. Onana was celebrating after the game. I was thinking, please don't pull the other calf. Save yourself for the final. Buendia has been poor. Every Villa fan said that. Because you slate a player for being poor, you can also praise them when they're good.
What about that Villa fan who rang in and called him Diddley Squatkins? I think he publicly apologised, didn't he?
100, but that was unfair. But Buendia should be doing what he done last night. You know, he's in the team for a reason. Harvey Elliott isn't getting a chance for that reason. The manager likes Buendia, but he doesn't turn up regularly.
Okay, 03717 3334. Villa fans, don't go into hiding this morning. Celebrate your success and tell us, were you booing on Sunday, and was Unai Emery justified in resting all those players in order to get you through to the Europa League final, which you will contest in Istanbul on the 20th of May, live on talkSPORT. Nottingham Forest won't be there. Why? Nottingham Forest fans, give us a shout. Tell us what went wrong for you last night. 03717 223344. Were you too open? Does Evangelos Marinakis have to take a little bit of the blame here? The Palace fans absolutely revelling in the fact that they're getting to a European final and Nottingham Forest aren't this morning. 03717 223344. We'll reflect on all of the night's football in just a few moments here on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go. Istanbul, you have been warned. Gabby Agbonlahor is on his way. We've got live coverage of the Europa League final. It is Aston Villa against Freiburg. Jim Proudfoot, Adrian Durham, the former Villa captain Andy Townsend and Ali McCoist will all be there with Gabby. There'll be wall-to-wall coverage of the Europa League final right from the very time that Gabby lands. I think Gabby's trying to get a flight out tomorrow, actually, but I'm not necessarily sure that the talkSPORT bosses have sanctioned that just yet. James Russ, the Forest fan, just for Gabby, congratulations. Villa were amazing, but apart from Anderson, if you could remove Forest key players, no Sangaru, no Murillo, no Aina, no Gibbs-White, no Hudson-Odoi. That cripples the team. It's such a shame we could not put out a competitive team last night on such a big occasion. But for all Forest fans, we're proud of our first European campaign in 30 years. They did us proud. And no blame on Vitor last night for what he had. It is interesting to sort of look at it from a Forest perspective, isn't it? Marinakis coming under the pump from Palace fans today as they get to a final and Forest miss out. The Palace fans in particular quite pleased with themselves about that. When we look back on this season, will Forest fans be grateful for the experience, a first European campaign in 30 years, and by the way, largely a successful European campaign, to get to a semi-final? Definitely. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes. They were very good during the course of the tournament. Or will they be wistful about what might have been?
What, in terms of if they've been in the Conference League, they could well be in Palace's position now. Yeah.
Well, there is a little bit of that, but there's also the fact that obviously the injuries, also the fact that they've had a lot of destabilising situations that have occurred because of the numerous changes of manager.
I think the fact they've got to the semi-finals of a major European competition has saved Marinakis from coming under the pump from his own supporters, because he's made some bad decisions. You know, hiring Ange Postecoglou was an absolute disaster, really. Forcing Nuno Espirito Santo out of the football club was probably not the right thing to do, bearing in mind he'd just given them their most successful season in decades, and it was thanks to his management they got into Europe in the first place. But you know what? I'm going to say it. This feels like karma for Marinakis, because they shouldn't have been in the Europa League at all. You know, they got in there on a technicality. It was only because he had the foresight to put his shares into a blind trust, and obviously Palace didn't do the same thing. But morally, it wasn't right that Palace got bumped down and Forest got bumped up. So I do think what goes around comes around.
I think as well, they have to be careful now who they do appoint. Do they give it to Pereira for next season? Do they bring in someone else, Marco Silva, whoever they do? Because if you're a manager, do you want it, Sam? You know, if you go through a tough spell, the manager, you're going to get sacked straight away by this owner. Is this a job that the top managers out there, Marco Silva will have so many options, will he want that Forest job? And they've got to get it right.
I think all you can say is, you know, you're going to get financial backing. You know, they will.
Who's going to give you financial backing?
Well, they will lose players in this window. Elliot Anderson is going to go.
You're talking about Nottingham Forest, but who signs the players? Does the manager sign the players?
Well, no, obviously not. So you have to be willing to operate under that system. And again, you talk about Marco Silva. From what I understand, he's been offered a long-term contract to Fulham, huge money in terms of wages, and carte blanche regarding recruitment. Well, he isn't going to get that carte blanche in recruitment at Nottingham Forest. What he is going to get is a chairman who's willing to invest in the team, but as you say, not necessarily on players.
What's crazy, though, is that look at where Forest are in the league table, but it wouldn't surprise me if this owner will demand the European football qualification next season. Yeah. I mean, so big pressure on whoever comes in.
But the fans like that ambition.
Okay.
They like the fact he's a demanding owner.
Yep.
You know, I don't think you'll get a Forest fan who comes on here today and bashes Marinakis, but if you're a Crystal Palace supporter, they were celebrating Forest's demise last night. In fact, one of the biggest cheers was when the PA announcer read out the score from Villa Park.
03717 223344. We're getting your calls and your texts. There's loads and loads of text messages coming in, basically coming for you, Gabby. The tone of them usually replicates what Mickey has said. Tell Gabby there's one thing worse than a bad loser. It's a bad winner. 03717 223344.
That Mickey. Oh, yeah. Thanks for that, Mickey. Have a good day, mate. Next.
I'm coming for you guys now.
Oh, no.
I'm coming for you guys now.
Oh, no.
Because I'm going to take you back to February.
Okay.
And in particular, you.
Ooh.
You had a go at me for being arrogant.
Nothing to do with me. Well,
about
bring me into
English
this debate.
football.
Champions League.
No. You said it's English arrogance because I said to you, is there a chance that their English teams, the Premier League teams, would win all 3 European trophies? And
I don't believe. Have you got proof?
That's English arrogance.
Have you got proof? Sir?
And what the final lineups again?
Have you got proof on that?
Yeah, we can easily get proof. We've got it. We've got loads of it.
Find it, please. No, you were spot on, mate. And the more the season's gone on, I said it yesterday. Whoever qualifies for the Europa League next season, if that's Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, Chelsea, whoever it is, will be favourites probably.
This is the first
how
time
strong the Premier
ever
League is.
that all 3 finals have an English team in them.
Incredible.
And how do you think UEFA will feel about that?
Not very happy, I wouldn't have thought. But I think there will be. I think that the venues will be happy, right? Okay, because English fans always travel in their numbers, right? So Arsenal
Hundreds
fans
of
spending
thousands.
stupid amounts of money.
Yes.
I felt sorry for them yesterday, especially because Budapest has got hardly any hotel rooms. They're going through the roof in terms of the cost. The same will happen in Leipzig. We've been trying to get our stuff sorted out, obviously, to get to these venues for the next couple of weeks. It's very, very difficult.
Sam, I want to apologise to you, mate, because we take you for granted. You know, you work so much. You know more football than anybody.
I
apologise, mate.
Don't take the mick.
The man in the blazer. I have to apologise.
You know what this is?
He scares me in that blazer. You know what I mean? He looks like my lawyer.
He looks like a Bond villain, doesn't he?
Did you say I look like your lawyer? You've had a few of those, haven't you? 03717 2233 4. Listen, how many trophies do you think the Premier League clubs are going to win? Let us know. Nottingham Forest fans, we want to hear from you. Gabby's fans, we want to hear from you. And Aston Villa fans as well. You are listening to talkSPORT. It's Fun Boy Friday. And by the way, Fun Boy Friday goes out this afternoon. We're all going out, aren't we, playing darts?
Well, most of us are, yeah.
Is anyone not coming? I mean, Maya's come in, the ref's come in, Tope's come in. Becky, you coming?
Sorry, guys. I'll hold my hands up. I'm sorry. I apologise.
Did you invite Scott Minto in the end?
I did invite Scott Minto.
Coming?
He's coming, yeah.
I apologise.
I knew he would be.
I'm sorry. I've got something.
To be fair,
on at
Minto
home.
turns up the opening.
What are you going to tell them? What I did to make it a bit sweeter? Disappointment that we're not coming.
You said you'd come next time.
It's blood money.
Blood money.
blood, we don't want it. Don't want it.
Forest fans and Max Scott have been celebrating all week. Villa did what they did to Bayern and PSG and sent them packing. It's karma in its purest form, especially for Palace, Lee and Stourbridge. Do you know what? I felt a bit sorry for Max last night. I did. I like Max. He's a good lad.
He's a top guy.
And he had to sit next to you for 3 hours as you were literally going.
Do you know what? We were so nice to each other because I like him and we both respect each other's teams. But once that third goal went in, something in me just changed.
Really? We didn't notice.
I just switced and I just couldn't stop.
Was there a show that you weren't on yesterday, by the way?
I know, mate. It is what it is, isn't it? Martin Keough must have been like headbutting the wall.
Question for Gabby. Can he help me decide who set up our first goal last night to make it 1-0? Was it Buendia or was it Michael Flatley who danced his way through that defence? Awesome footwork from Ogre, the Villa fan.
Top talent.
Morning, guys. When Villa lost the first leg, I was gutted. But I thought when we get to Villa Park, it will be a different story.
Yes.
But then we lost on Sunday, and I felt physically sick. But every time I looked at Emery, he was calm and thoughtful, not going mad like usual, and I thought maybe he's got a plan. And boy, what a plan. In Unai we trust, up the Villa. Steve in Birmingham. Let's get to Gemma, who's an Aston Villa fan. Hi, Gemma.
Good morning, Gemma.
Good morning. Good morning, Sam, Alex and Gabby.
Good morning to you. Thanks for coming on. Congratulations for last night. What do you want to say?
Thank you. I actually wanted to say something to Gabby, please. With respect, Gab, a few days ago you said that Emi Buendia was not good enough to play for Aston Villa. I think you owe him a public apology.
Gemma, consider it done.
Performance last night.
Consider it done.
That camera over there, please.
Buendia, you are a superstar. I apologise. I get a lot of things wrong. You are a top player. Is that okay, Gemma?
That's perfect. Thank you, Gab.
Anytime. Anything for you, Gemma.
Thank you. My husband and my son are actually going to Istanbul. They managed to get tickets last night and some flights. So they're really lucky. They'll be there with you, Gab. I just wanted to say one more thing. I'd just like to advocate for, and I know football's really tribal, but if I could just congratulate Arsenal and Crystal Palace for reaching their finals as well. And I just think it would be great if everyone could just be a bit more patriotic and support all the English teams rather than being so divisive. It would be wonderful.
Do you know what? That's long been my mantra.
You are right, Gemma.
I've got Alex Crook next to me who doesn't want anyone to win a European trophy apart from Man United.
No, I've had a nice little double on Villa and Palace, so I'll cheer those two on. And,
I agree.
And PSG in the Champions League final.
Gemma, I've always been a big fan of PSG. You know, back to Pochettino's days with Ronaldinho. Love PSG, so I have to go for PSG to win.
I think it would be great if they all won.
I know, Gemma. It's what it is.
Do you know the worst thing? I've just arranged to go and spend Champions League final weekend with the Arsenal supporting family in Portugal. So we're going out for the afternoon. We're watching together. My brother-in-law said, you've got to wear an Arsenal shirt. I said, no chance.
You definitely get on that horse.
But I said to him, I'll cheer you on. I absolutely won't.
He rang me up.
I absolutely won't.
He rang me up and said to me, we're at Wednesday night for the Europa League final. He goes, all right if I come and watch the final round at your house? Is that okay? Because I'm playing at Old Trafford the next day.
Makes sense.
Just
another freebie.
Thank you, Gemma. Good luck. Jackson, Aston Villa fan. Hello.
Good morning, Jack.
Morning, guys. How are we?
Yeah, we're good. How did you feel after last night? And what do you think it signals for Aston Villa?
Well, I think it was a fantastic game. I think the fans turned up. Players turned up after Sunday as well. Did fantastic.
Did you boo on Sunday?
Sorry?
Did you boo on Sunday at half-time when they were trailing to Tottenham?
No, I sort of understood what was going on. I mean, with where we are in the table, I think there's a couple of games where we can possibly afford to rest players for the European matches. It's a case of not putting all the eggs in one basket. And it came to fruition, didn't it, last night with that performance? I know Forest weren't at their best, but...
How important is this, Jack, for Villa fans to go and win this in the final?
To be honest, I think winning the Europa League, it's one of the it's the biggest moment in my lifetime as a Villa fan anyway, especially even up there with 1982, with the restrictions we've had and how competitive the league and the European competitions are.
Spot on, mate.
Jack, thank you very much. Appreciate that. It was interesting, actually, when I was thinking about the possibility of Aston Villa winning the Europa League, and it hasn't happened yet. They play Freiburg. I did the Freiburg game last night, actually.
Game? Good team.
I think Aston Villa will win.
Yep.
I just don't think defensively that Freiburg are good enough to be able to withstand the Villa pressure.
Yes.
and I'm not sure they've scored a lot of goals this season, but I'm not sure they'll be good enough to score against opposition of the level of Aston Villa. And interestingly, I know you came for Spurs at the end of last season when they won in Bilbao, saying that it was the Dog and Duck Cup.
Dog and Duck final. That was more a reflection of the final than the competition.
But we had a text message here, which just gone off my screen. But Ryan has sent us a text message saying, just like Spurs, Aston Villa will win the watered-down version of Europe's second competition. We should be expecting them to win it, and it doesn't represent a massive achievement.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
Is it bigger for Aston Villa to win the Europa League than it is for Tottenham to win the Europa League? Because I think last season everybody expected it to be a big final between Tottenham and Manchester.
I think it's still for Spurs. You know, the weight that their fans have had to winning a trophy. It meant more to Spurs maybe than Manchester United, who are used to winning multiple Champions Leagues. But is it a watered down competition? Listen, there's no Champions League teams going into it. Is it easier to win? Yes, it is. Will the Premier League teams in Europa League next season be favourites? Yes, they will. How strong the Premier League is, like you says.
But it's a fairer competition, I think. Because
exactly.
I think one of the big issues I had with the big teams from the Champions League or the eliminated teams from the Champions League coming down is basically they were getting a second chance.
Why?
And everybody else who'd gone through the group stages of the Europa League ended up having to deal with higher grade opposition when they got to the
Dortmund.
And that became almost like a plate competition.
Yes, and that didn't happen in the old days, did it? When you had the European Cup, the UEFA Cup, the Cup Winners' Cup that Arsenal won in 1995. I think that's a rubbish argument, to be honest.
You know as well, guys, I said it yesterday, Sam. I says that, like, there's people who are going through a lot in life. And last night, there'll be Villa fans that are poorly, there'll be Villa fans that are going through a lot of stress. Last night just takes your mind off it. Football means so much to people. And it's been 30 years since Aston Villa won a trophy. It's been far too long. And Villa fans are jealous of the West Hams, jealous of the Spurs, jealous of Crystal Palace winning trophies. And
not just Villa. I was at Arsenal on Tuesday night. I described it on air as the best night the Emirates has ever had. I stand by that. Arsenal in the European final. I was at Selhurst last night. I described that as the biggest night in the history of the stadium over 102 years. And Gab's right. You know, the world is a tough place for a lot of people at the moment. It was joy unconfounded at the Emirates, same at Villa Park, and very much the same at Selhurst Park. And I think we should cherish that.
Yeah, and we should also cherish the fact that 3 English teams are in the final. As Richard from Huddersfield says, this is fantastic for English football. It's proving why the Premier League is such a dominant force, especially after UEFA changed the rules, and rightly so the Champions League teams can no longer be demoted into the Europa or Conference League. And now we are seeing the effect. Any English team that qualifies for the Europa League or Conference League instantly becomes one of the favourites. The Champions League is the only place where the big teams from other leagues are actually on the same level as our big teams. 03717 2233.
Thank you, Sam.
A double.
I was just going to say thank you. Can you give the number again, please? Because all these Forest fans, you know, West Ham fans.
You think they've lost the number?
Hundreds of them in my DMs. Like, you've got the number, guys. Phone. Let's have a chat.
Is the switchboard as flooded as if we were talking about?
I think the Villa fans are probably hungover, Crookie. But where's the Forest fans? You know, I'm sure I was getting messages all week.
Quickly, let's get to Craig, who's a Birmingham
Friday.
City
Come
fan.
on.
Quickly, Craig, because we've got to go. Because we've got.
Come on, Craig. Let's have it.
Join us very shortly. Go for it. What do you want to say?
Hello again, Gabby.
Hello, Craig. You right, mate?
I told you I'd phone up again if you won.
Thank you, mate.
Congratulations.
Thank you, pal.
But my point is, you said last week or this week how Arsenal celebrate their fans, how the fans were.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you done the exact same thing last night.
Not as, we didn't celebrate as much.
I had fireworks before the game.
Yeah, there wasn't a concert after the game, was there? You know.
I think you're a bit harsh on Arsenal. They've not reached the Champions League final in 20 years.
Absolutely.
They're second favourites. They know they're second favourites.
You went on the
wasn't just me that said it.
Ange Postecoglou.
It wasn't just me that said it. Legendary Wayne Rooney said it. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank said the same thing, guys.
I was all up for it.
Craig, how do you feel, Craig, as a Birmingham City fan? Aston Villa are so close. Will you be hiding when the parade is through New Street through Aston?
I'm not a deluded like blue nose or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's good for West Midlands.
Agreed.
It's good for the West Midlands because the West Midlands is highly like underrated. I think.
Agreed.
The people in West Midlands are proper football fans.
Yes, great.
Proper working class people.
Agreed.
We've seen it at Birmingham in League One and the Championship.
Yep.
We've seen it with Villa now in Europe. You don't really see it with the Baggies and Wolves because they're both pretty much in scraps in there. Let's be honest.
We don't get the respect, do we, mate, the West Midlands? And now Villa are going to put West Midlands back on the map.
Well, we put them back on the map a few years ago, but we're still waiting for Villa to do it.
You should have saw his face, Craig, when he said that. It was tongue firmly.
Cookie, you okay, mate? You got a fight? Cookie against the water?
Craig, thank you very much. 03717
Alex.
3344. He's having a go at everybody celebrating too much when Arsenal won the semi-final on Tuesday night, and then he's just talked about the open-top bus parade that's going to go through Aston because they're going to definitely win the Europa League. He hasn't even seen Freiburg yet. He don't know anything about them.
What country are they from? Is it Austria? Is it Germany? I don't know.
Black Forest. It's Germany.
Okay, good. Yeah, I didn't know.
Ginter plays for them. Used to play for Germany. World Cup winner.
Great player.
2004.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
Is that where the gatto comes from?
That is where the gatto comes from.
Never knew that. There
Okay.
Bit of a quiz question for you.
Nottingham Forest fans, please call up. We want to chat. Come on, guys.
I'm going to be positive about the whole thing. 7-2 it is for all three to win the finals. I'm going to place a bet.
That's a bit stingy.
On those three.
How was your night? We watched you on the telly last night. I mean, the place was absolutely rocking.
Amazing. Hello, guys. Good morning. Incredible evening. I mean, everything was in place last night. I mean, the build-up for the game, the fans, they were singing, they were ready, they were expecting a big performance, and the boys never disappointed. And especially Unai Emery, he looked flattened at the weekend against Spurs. There was a few boos around, but he took the gamble. He knew what he had to achieve, and that is to get to the European final. It was the perfect performance from every single one. It looked like that team was out in a mission. They were covering every single grass and green they've seen on the pitch. And you know what? It was amazing.
Stan, John McGinn's, I've just seen his 2 goals again. I've watched them over and over again. As an ex-player, you've got to admire it because we've been in that position where the ball's coming across to you and you've got so much time, too much time. And he slotted one with his left foot right in the corner. And then the second one, he's had the nerve to give the goalkeeper the eyes and drag it inside the near post. And like in a big game like that, I thought his nerve, he's held his nerve and composure too great. And the other goal, Ollie Watkins' goal at Bundia, done brilliant bit of skill. And Ollie Watkins is in the right place. I enjoyed that goal as well.
Yeah. Listen, every single goal was brilliant. Every moment. I mean, John McGinn, I'm on his back in the last 3 years regarding goals. I think he has so much potential. He just needs to understand what he's good at. And now I think he's become more mature, more relaxed. He calms his nerves in front of the goal rather than going for power. He knows that he can only use his technique. He can only use his body shape to score goals. But that makes you a top midfielder when you start scoring goals. And this season, he has definitely done that. He's a great leader. And you know what? Having the opportunity to score 2 goals in a semi-final. I mean, when was the last time? Do you remember when was the last time John McGinn scored 2 goals in one game?
Well, he's in his younger days, he was always a goal-scoring midfield player. He's got it in him. He's got an eye for a goal. And to actually get in that position, you've got to ask where Forest's left-back was twice.
Yeah.
But he took advantage of it.
Yeah, and, I think he worked with so many managers, but I think under Unai Emery, he has really grown as a player. He understands the game. He sees the pitch in a different way. He's really patient with his position on the pitch. And you know what? He's striving. He's striving, and he's leading that team in the right direction. And he's one more step to that European Cup.
Dean mentioned it earlier on, Stiliyan. I mean, you look at the team they're going to meet in the final. Do you think, Villa are just a much stronger side anyway? I mean, it looks like you're going to lift this trophy. I mean, anything can happen in a one-off final, but are you feeling confident that you can win it?
Yes, I do. I think the Villa always been maybe from the start the favourites to win the Europa League. They had to go through a lot. The European form has been really, really good, but it's one-off game, and both teams will have nothing to lose. The only you're gonna lose is that European Cup, but they have to throw everything. One-off game, anything can happen. I've been there, Shaban. I've been there. When you think you get closer to that cup, you're actually getting further. So they have to be ready. But I'm sure Unai Emery, he has the experience in that stage, and he knows what to do and how to motivate that team.
Yeah.
I think as well, Stan, he seems to have control of who comes in the door and who goes out the door, which I think the group of players realise, if the manager leaves me out, I've got no option but to dig in training and try and force him to pick me, because he ain't going anywhere, and he decides who comes in and who comes out, and I think that's why they're so successful.
And you know what? Buendia is the prime example. He went through a really difficult injury. He had to go on loan. He had to come back. There was speculation for him leaving. And he's the prime example. And he should be the example for the other players, how you have to fight for your place, how to wait for your moments. And he's done so well. Even last night, I mean, he was brilliant. He linked up very well with Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins. Him and Tielemans look like they're enjoying playing together. And you know what? He's the prime example of what you have to do and how you have to fight for your place and take the opportunity.
And Tielemans, what I like about Tielemans is when he gets the ball, his first thought is to pass the ball forward. And if you're in, you're in. He puts you in. Yeah. He's not one of them crabs that just go sideways for the looking at the possession stats and pass completion. He actually passes the ball forward.
Here, Stan, what would you rather? Celtic win the league this season or Villa win the Europa League? You have to give me an answer.
Yeah, both winning. One winning the league, the other one winning the Europa League. There is no other question and another answer, because you know what? Both teams has gone through their difficult times through the season. And I think both teams have the opportunity to end up with the silverware.
Brilliant. Listen, I'm glad you're confident, Stan. Gabby Agbonlahor sent a text this morning to producer Scott saying he's booked his flight to Turkey. While he's there, he's going to get his hair done and his teeth done too. Will you be going with Gabby? Will you make it out to the final?
I'm going to the final, guys. I'm going to the final, and I will be there, and I'll be supporting the team.
Good for you. Listen, it was great to see you last night. You're doing well. You're looking well. Are you in the beer garden? Are you still in a beer garden? Have you been there from last night?
I'm in the gym. I'm playing badminton, and the boys are waiting. They are not happy, guys. They are not happy.
Well, we're happy that we had you. Stiliyan Petrov, thank you for your time. Well done.
Thanks, Stiliyan.